This morning we start with Chapman, Julian, and Bruno, they're all engineers. Chapman and Julian are traffic engineers, Bruno is civil engineer. Introduce myself first. I'm by training an engineer, but failed to be an engineer in the end. So I call myself a transport professional with interest in transport management and transport policy. That's why this is one of my hobbies, trying to comment on transport policy with traditions. Paul Simon actually reminds us that whatever we like to say, always bring back to the topic for the day is transport the solution or the enemy. Initially, I was thinking about to introduce to you what the challenges of transport, the views of our views are given to government on air quality objectives, which is of course roadside air quality is a big issue. Externality brought by urban transport. But given Paul's reminder, then I started to talk about whether it's a solution. A cheeky answer is, of course, it's a bit of both, right? Can't be wrong. In terms of solution, I just wonder how many of you actually have experienced or seen or even lived in Hong Kong in the 60s or late 60s. Not too many. Well, which is of course expected. In the late 60s, we had a population of about 4 million. Now we have 7 million. But of course, in those days, living condition was much more crowded and congested. Well, some of these old local movies say that describing one family of 6 or 7 living in one small cubicle or even in one back space. Now, even though we have 7 million, our living condition overall has been much better. Right? Compared with, I lived in the public housing in the late 60s. Standard provision at that time was 24 square feet per resident in the public housing, and kids are only treated as half. So thanks to our new town, development of new town, we actually have much more, I won't say good, at least much better environment than the old days. But given the new town, there's of course a problem of bringing in people, keeping people connected and bringing in people to the urban area, business area for work. Unfortunately, we lost our manufacturing industry, so the original idea of new towns has failed. And more than that, even in the early 70s, it wasn't uncommon to bump into people that have to live away from their family. Even though at that time, most of the population were either on the Hong Kong Island side or in the Kowloon side, not that much in the new territories. It was not uncommon to have people getting away from the family, at least a small cubicle or bed space near the place of work. Right? And that's why in those days, Monday morning was actually much more difficult than the others, even for public transport, because some of these people tend to actually leave their family and go back to work and then stay away for another week. Sounds like some of us who actually work in Mainland nowadays, but for a different reason. So transport, to a certain extent, actually support the whole new town development, giving us a better environment. That is, I would say, the social benefit of the transport infrastructure development and the transport system that we had in the last 3 or 4 decades, which actually is quite a lot, and is actually getting cheaper and cheaper, even though people grumble about, well, it's expensive. But when we compare, when we first had the tunnel bus, it was $1, and compare $1 with, say, about $10 nowadays with aircon. Actually, it's not, and compared with the price index, it's not that expensive. Having said that, I'm not suggesting that public transport operators increase the fare, but that is the contribution in terms of the transport system in Hong Kong to our environment as a whole. Never mind about the economic benefits, but I'll leave it to the economists. Having said that, we actually have been rather complacent in the last 20 or several decades. We, particularly those of us, people like myself, a transport professional, 2 or 3 weeks ago when I was in Seoul attending a conference, we probably say that, okay, 90% of our commuting trips are on public transport. And so we have a much lower carbon footprint per trip, say, for example. And we say that we have the lowest car ownership is only about 50 cars per 1,000 capita, compared with cities and countries of comparable GDP per capita. Okay, we have done very good, but on the other hand, the fact that we are so dense and everybody coming into the CBD, there are also obvious externalities in transport, and one of which is congestion and roadside pollution. Roadside air quality is particularly bad. So, in response to government consultation, our institute, our professional institute, actually gave our reply, and what we say is we have to keep Hong Kong moving on one hand. On the other hand, we need cleaner air, and that's why we need a response. And how to do it? We are of the view that, well, actually, it's quite interesting. Well, there's a lot of discussion about electric vehicles. So we say promote electric and alternative cleaner fuel. We also need to address congestion. And again, the third big point is actually mentioned by Chapman earlier, promote pedestrianization and cycling. Well, obvious, well, people ask, in fact, when it was first raised, I asked myself, well, because 80% of, well, Environmental Protection Department has once said, about 5 years ago, that 80% of the pollution come from the BRD rather than ourselves in Hong Kong, right? Okay, they're cleaning up, they're moving away the manufacturing industry, and in Hong Kong, 80% of the pollution come from our power plant, only 20% from others. So as a transport professional, I say, well, that's great, so we are not that much of culprit. On the other hand, I mean, these are much closer pollutions on the roadside. You put with electric vehicle, you have zero emission at tailpipe. If you have emission at the power plant of office, I mean, this is obvious, you can actually better regulate it. It's better to regulate a couple of power companies than to regulate everybody, hundreds and thousands of car vehicle owners. And of course, they are in a much better position to use technology to remove or to reduce that emission. And after all, apart from emission, with electric cars is quite cleaner, cooler on the roadside, and with electricity can be generated by a number of fuels. Coal, of course, seems to be a dirty word apart from being a dirty fuel. But you have gas, and of course, few people realize that a certain proportion of our power supply actually comes from nuclear power. I mean, that, of course, can be another source of controversy, but that is reality. And as far as carbon footprint and pollution is concerned, at least that is cleaner. That will allow us to relieve the pressure in terms of oil price going up. Imagine if oil price go back to something like more than $100 or even $140 US per barrel. This will come, I'm sure, as we deplete our oil supply. Now, electrification, what can we do? Again, a lot of these things has been covered by the previous speakers. We can modernize our tramway. Trolley bus is something that was just already mentioned. But few people realize that actually City Bus, as a bus company, they actually have a trial scheme inside their depot in 2002, and it was proved workable, technically feasible, except that, of course, infrastructure costs you money. But nowadays, we are changing a little bit from whether the private operators should pay everything